Hello, I hope you're having a great day today. Today I'm taking a look at a 31-page short story. It's also the next one in this collection, Ill Met in Lankhmar. It was published by Fritz Leiber, and so we'll be taking a look at this collection. It collects all of his Gray Mouser and Fafhrd stuff set in the world of Newan and in and around the city of Lankhmar, where this is also set too. So this is a 31-page long short story. It took me about an hour for me to lock it out last night, which is a little surprising. I had a previous 31-page short story. It took me about an hour too. I've been blowing through my reread of this for you folks, so I'm a little and I've gotten through it at a much faster pace. So I'm a little surprised. That took me an hour for me to knock out the last couple of short stories for you folks. So anyway. Claws from the Night is set in the world of Lankhmar. Fritz Leiber's first story was published in 1939, Two-Sided Adventure, and it's actually in this collection for you folks. It's been republished as Jewels in the Forest, and it's been and so I've reviewed that for you. He died in 1992, and he published it every decade from the 30s to the 90s, his decade of his death. Now, as a reminder, the channel is named "The Worst Thing About New Books" is a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old books. That's where my passion for my channel comes from. So reading this guy who published decades ago and was heavily influential on modern fantasy and also is heavily in fantasy and science fiction and horror is definitely something that I think is key for this channel. Because a lot of people may have heard of Fritz Leiber, but have you actually read him, right? So that's sort of the key thing. Anyway, so he is one of the most awarded writers in science fiction genre with tons of Hugos, including this series. He also has Stoker's for horror, and he was a protege of H.P. Lovecraft, who died in 1937, a couple of years before his first story was published, and they wrote back and forth. So we've reviewed a short story for you during my October that I dedicate to the Cthulhu Mythos month for a short story that's in a Cthulhu Mythos that's written by him. We also knocked out a science fiction short story that was set in the Hall of Fame, according to the Science Fiction Writers of America. And so I read that in the collection that I picked up and read for you folks. And then I have reviewed 5 short stories in this collection prior to me going back and actually rereading them. Typically now, over the last 3 or 4 years, when I go back and want to review a short story, I'll actually review it for you and reread it a second time before I review it for you. But in the first couple of years of my channel, I would just do, unless I had just read it new for the first time, I would just go back and review things that I had not gone back and reread recently. In this collection, it's the first of 4, by the way, I have read 15, 20 years ago, but I hadn't actually gone back and read it. So I did 5 reviews from this collection, including one of the next short stories called Bizarre the Bizarre. And then I have, but I haven't touched those in years because I hadn't gone back and reread it. So now that I'm going back and rereading the collection that way, it's fresh for you folks. So we're doing a deep dive thus into this. So let's take a look at my thoughts of Claws from the Night. Now, as a reminder, all of my reviews are spoiler-free, in case you've never heard of it before or you've never had a chance to read it, but you've heard of the guy before. So here we go. Let's take a quick look at my review of the Claws from the Night. Again, 31 pages long. It used its length well. I was interested the entire time. I wasn't bored. It had some good action scenes in it. I thought the ending was pretty nice. So I liked it. I thought it was a nice classic fantasy work. So ready for my thoughts on Claws of the Night? So what's happening is that Gray Mouser and Fafhrd have just returned to Lankhmar from being away for a while, according to rumor and scuttlebutt. And so there has been a recent number of burglaries of high-profile things that have happened during the day, during when the people were just turning away for a little bit. It started out being low-value stuff that just looked high, like costume jewelry and so forth. But over time, the burglars have gotten better and better and better. And then one person, they said that they were attacked by a bird who tried to pick it away and plucked at them, and they were beaten because everybody thought that person actually had been one of the criminals stealing behind things, and they had they thought that this person was actually lying. Then other people said they saw birds too, and so. And then there was an attack during the day on the streets. A woman is attacked and her brooch is stolen. as a jade brooch, and the bird flies away. So it looks like there are birds that are actually making these attacks for these gems and jewels and pieces of jewelry and stuff like that. So that's where what's happening. That's where the title clause from the night comes into. And then some of the younger kids are wearing bird cages around their head in order to protect themselves from robberies at night when they go out from their house. And most of the rest of the people are all staying in place, even though it's the summer months when it's really warm and swampy out there because it's on the swamps of a river hall. So anyway, so I'll go ahead and leave you to it. But that's basically what's been happening. I've took about 5 pages into a 30-page short story, and then we will follow up with what's happening next. So, but I'll go ahead and leave you to it. I'm giving this probably like a 7.8 or 7.9 that I'm running up to an 8 proper, so it's like an 8-. It's well written, it's well done, it's well crafted. It doesn't, but it's not perfect. A short story, it still has some issues here and there. The phraseology is fun, so I'm giving this an 8-. Anywhere, so there you are. Have you read this short story? If so, did you give it an 8- too? Would you give it higher? Would you give it lower? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to talk about the ending or spoilers, let's do so too. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing in it and watching my video. We all have so many things happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.